Okay, welcome to the lesson today. Today's lesson is about reported speech. Somebody asked me a very good question recently about the sequence of tenses. I hadn't ever read about this, the sequence of tenses in any of the books which I have used throughout many years teaching. And I looked at it on Wikipedia and found out something new. Really, I consider this reported speech, and that's why the title of the video, the title of the lesson is reported speech. And in reported speech, we do this. We don't really do this apart from when we're speaking. And well, I think it's even okay in a written form sometimes, but very rarely, and I'll explain why. Now, with the sequence of tenses, you have a tracted sequence. What does that mean? It means we move all the tenses back. That's what the attracted sequence is. It means all tenses are moved back in reported speech. When you say he told me, she said, he admitted, he denied, he explained, this is reporting somebody's speech. And when you report somebody's speech in the past, you have to move tenses back. So, Tim needs a pen. In reported speech, he told me, let's make it even clearer. Tim needs a pen. You report it, you say, he told me that Tim needed a pen. Present tense, needs, becomes past tense, needed. Present goes to past. Okay, if I say, or if my wife says, Anna went to the shops, she said that Anna had gone to the shops. Past simple, here, becomes past perfect, here. Went goes to had gone. Okay? Another example would be, my friends will come. I explained that my friends would come. So will goes to would in reported speech. Past simple goes to past perfect in reported speech. And present simple goes to past simple in reported speech. Present perfect goes to past perfect. Present continuous goes to past continuous. And present simple goes to past simple. Can goes to could. So some modals change, really, just will and can. Will goes to would, can goes to could. And so there are many changes in reported speech. However, in some languages, and sometimes in English, I think if you're speaking in reported speech, it's very common to actually use the natural sequence, when. Now, natural sequence means tenses are not moved. So, Tim needs a pen, he told me, Tim needs a pen. Nothing changes, okay? It's much simpler in the natural sequence. We use the natural sequence if it's still true now. And that's usually the case, or sometimes the case, if you're speaking. It's not usually the case if you're writing a story, then you would need to use this reported speech. But if you're speaking, it may be maybe Tim still needs a pen, and you're saying, Tim told me he needs a pen. Do you have a pen so that you can lend it to Tim? Yeah, he told me he needs a pen now. Do you have one now? Can you give it to him now? So this is when we would use the natural sequence, not moving it back, keeping the tense exactly the same. Needs stays as needs. And equally true, we could say, she said that Anna went to the shops. Now, I think quite often we would do this without moving it to past perfect. Strictly speaking, it's not necessary to move it to past perfect. So we could, even in reported speech, it's not absolutely necessary. You could say she said that Anna went to the shops. Had gone is much more beautiful, I think. It's more correct. And I would normally do this, especially in written forms. But in spoken forms, and I just want to put that here for the natural sequence, it's very often spoken. It's not often written. And it's because if it's spoken, it's often still true now. And so maybe Anna still went down the shops. You could say she said that Anna went to the shops. It's okay. Okay, so this is possible, keeping it the same. And lastly, it is possible to say, I said they will come. If they still will come, you still expect them in 5 minutes, you can say, look, I said they will come, and they will come, because I mean what I said. Yeah, and so this natural sequence where nothing changes, it's possible, but usually in spoken forms, because in spoken forms it may be the case that it's still true now. And so, yeah, with spoken forms, it's possible to do this. But with most written forms, I would use the attractive sequence. I would move the tenses back. You know, I suppose I could think of one time when I'm writing, and I might not do that. If I was writing about the history of science, and I was writing about Newton, perhaps Copernicus, I could say, Copernicus said, or Copernicus wrote even. Copernicus wrote that the planets go round the sun. The planets go round. Now I would use the natural sequence, which means that I haven't changed the form of the verb. Go round the sun. I've used past tense here, and then I've used present here, which means I'm using the natural sequence. I'm not changing this. Why? Because the planets still go round the sun. I'm sure you've already guessed that. And so these are the situations when we use the natural sequence. If it's still true now, it's good for spoken usually, but not good for written forms. And so I would really try and move all tenses back. All of them, even past simple to past perfect. I would move all tenses back for written work, and any exams that you may do, I would do this. Okay, I hope that's clear. Please ask questions below the video, and I'm happy to answer them. And please subscribe if you like this lesson. Thanks a lot for watching. Please subscribe if you've enjoyed this lesson and would like to receive more over the next few weeks. Here are some videos on phrasal verbs, auxiliary verbs, tenses, and verb forms as well, like gerunds and 2+ infinitive. Please watch them and try the quizzes below the videos, and I hope that you improve.